So we have our awesome coach Devin today, as well as some of our Flourish staff, and we're going to discuss how we can get what we want and need from people in authority. So a quick agenda overview. We will go through some introductions, talk about Flourish, who is sponsoring this webinar, and talk about what is effective communication, why is it important to incorporate empathy into it, and how do we use these skills to get people in authority to listen. Then we have 6 really specific strategies on how to get what you need. We'll do a quick demonstration on how to do it and put it all together, and then kind of close this up with some virtual meeting tips, as well as open up the floor for anyone who has a specific issue that they may be going through and are not sure how to handle. And we will help you live. And so if you don't mind sharing a little bit in front of others, we would love to work through it with you. So today we have DevDog, who is also known as Devin. We have a Flourish nickname culture here, so it's kind of a fun thing we do. So he is a certified coach at the NBC HWC, and he is an awesome coach at helping organizations and individuals reach their potential. He's worked in the startup world before in different fields, so if you're I've talked to him about it. My name is Ellie, and I go as Starfire, and I'm the head of growth here at Flourish. And then we also have Hal on the line, who is the CEO of Flourish. He studied communication and leadership at Stanford and Harvard, so he is our expert and has been I'm going to talk a little bit about Flourish. So what do we do? Our goal is to help people practice these essential skills for success. And so our goal is really to help everyone in the world flourish. We teach communication frameworks and provide a safe space to do the practice that is required to reach perfection. These skills lead to less conflict, which leads to better relationships and ultimately increase our wellness. Who is Flourish for? Flourish is for people who are ready to take that next step in personal development, who want to grow and be kind of pushed and stretched to become the person that they want to be. It is not a replacement for therapy, and we, again, just provide a space to give you feedback. So a lot of our participants, need to come in with that mindset of being given critique and being willing to work on it with us. And so what is effective communication? It's working and communicating with empathy, assertiveness, and respect. Empathy is often the most important part of communication. When the other person knows that you understand them and you're open to understanding them, they're way more willing to listen to you and work with you towards a solution. So some of our frameworks are developed from communication experts from Stanford, Harvard, and MIT, and then adapted to be more adaptable and useful in different situations.
Hey, Sarva, can I say something very quick just to motivate the crowd for why this is so important? 10 years ago, after I just graduated from college, I was working in finance in New York and Wall Street. And due to my own inexperienced relationship and communication move, I clashed terribly with my boss, who made my next 12 months living hell. Every day I dreaded to go to work because of the insolent move that I made. And man, boy, I wish I had DevDog as my coach. And I would have paid him a lot of money to solve my problem. It was truly it was a huge problem for me. And what's I guess surprising to me was, I went to college, respectable college. I didn't learn any of that in school, and yet the stuff that contributed to my own relationship feeling was so real. And we are trying to bring that to you today.
Awesome. Thanks, Hal. So I'm going to let Devin take over now.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Hal, for that entree into why it's really important to address these personal and also professional conversations with people in authority. And there's so many use cases. Hal just mentioned one situation, but think about other situations where you're specifically looking for raises or promotion from your boss, getting more clarity out of your responsibilities and expectations at work. Maybe you're asking for more time and resources from a boss or someone in authority. Also asking for other opportunities, and clarifying boundaries can be a really tricky area when you're communicating with people in authority. So yeah, there's so many use cases. It's really endless, this topic of people in authority and how to communicate with them. But we'll try to break down some methodologies and simple tips and tricks for how to make it simpler and more accessible for effective communication. So, some other areas we'd just like to address before we get into the specific empathy skills are, being really clear about what you want and need. It can take some time to really sit through and sift through, figure out what it is that you want and need from a conversation. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Also discussing the strategy of a conversation with other colleagues and family and other people, that can be really helpful. Just not going into a conversation off the cuff and trying to make things up on the fly. That can be good for the brainstorming process. And then developing this organized flow in a conversation. I've worked with a client recently, and they were trying to figure out how best to bring up their topic, and they weren't sure about how they should introduce the different concepts that they wanted to address. So that can be helpful as you think about how to use the topics and meld the skills with the topics you want to bring up. So yeah, and then committing to clear takeaways and action steps. What is it that after the conversation with someone in authority, you are making sure that you will be able to get what you want and need, or maybe it's not exactly what you want and need exactly, but maybe you're moving in that direction, or maybe not now, but in a few months, or some sort of time in the near future. What we'll really be diving into today is using the key empathy skills that we really promote here at Flourish. So we can dive in a little deeper. Awesome. So we, with the frameworks, that previous slide I just quickly mentioned, there's 6 key empathy skills you can really employ in the effective communication, which we'll bring up to you today. And empathy, as Ellie Starfire mentioned, it's really about understanding and relating with another person. And some of those goals, specifically with empathy, are opening a channel of communication with another person. I mean, it can be kind of difficult talking with someone in authority, but opening that channel of communication, opening the door, removing some of the separation from you and that other person. It can be difficult, but there are ways to tangibly manage and go about that process, and just kind of like connected to that, breaking down the existing barriers. Hal was mentioning there were probably some barriers in that relationship, and like, how do you start to remove some of those barriers? And empathy can really help you address the conflicts and establish a smoother connection there. So yeah, let's dive into the strategies. The first one we like to call disarm. And here you're trying to find the grain of truth in what another person's saying. So let's imagine someone in authority is saying, I don't think customers will like this feature because it's unintuitive. And you're trying to figure out how to navigate that difficult statement from your boss or someone in authority. And you could say, you're right, customers may find this unintuitive, or I agree that da da da, or yes da da da. So you can really, that lessens the emotional charge and maybe confrontational aspect of the conversation. So you're trying to find the grain of truth and in what the person in authority is saying. So that's one strategy we'll dive into.
Do you mind if I chime in very quickly on this? If there's any takeaway, this is probably the number one thing you want to take away, because a lot of these conversations are emotionally charged. As a result, no one's being rational and being like, kind of even-headed. And what you want to do is to exercise some leadership to bring the dialogue to a more composed manner. And that's what we're trying to get you to do. Go ahead, Devdam.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that that highlight there. Totally. So yeah, strategy 2. This can deepen. Let's see here. So thought empathy. This is about close listening and a little more analytical. Repeating the other person's words and phrases. So so let's say someone comes to you in authority. I don't think our stakeholders will agree with this. Well, what are the key points that person is saying that you can understand and show connectedness to that person? You could respond saying, I understand you don't think our stakeholders will agree with this. So again, that's really allowing you to connect with that other person and deepen that empathetic connection and move the conversation forward. So that's strategy 2. Strategy 3, it's feeling empathy. So you're trying to connect with the other person on a more emotional level and having your best guess about what the other person's feeling. And this could be a little more difficult to employ in a conversation with someone in authority, but it's still possible to employ it. And let's say someone in authority, they state, I don't think customers will like this feature. There's a few ways you could respond with the feeling empathy. You could say, I wonder if you're feeling annoyed because we've changed this feature, or I guess you might be feeling surprised, or I wonder if you're having second thoughts about X, Y, or Z. So again, you might have reservations about using feelings, the feeling terminology with someone in authority, and it might be more something you can use more in some cases than others. So that's strategy 3. Strategy 4, I feel statements. This is where you show the other person where you're coming from on an emotional level and try to connect with them that way and share your side of the story. And this is authentic revealing of your own emotions. So it's okay to share multiple emotions here. I feel disappointed after hearing your feedback, or I feel worried. It can really allow the person in authority to kind of not come to your rescue, but see that you're a human with feelings, and they may want to help you in a way that they weren't ready to, or weren't seeing before you said like how I feel in the strategy 4 here. So we're chugging along. Strategy 4, and then strategy 5, affirmation. This could be also one of the more popularly used in affirming a person in authority. But be careful to not overdo it. But the idea here is sharing genuine and specific appreciation and admiration. So not just fluffing up someone, but truly saying, I appreciate that last week you gave me direction that resulted in compliments from our customers. You are important to our team's success. I really value how, you helped us or helped me, develop the project and make that sale. So, affirming, everyone feels good when you make them feel valuable and affirm their worth. So, but again, be clear that it's not just fluff. You want to be genuine here. So that's strategy 5, affirmation. Strategy 6, inquiry. This is an interesting one. It allows for flow. more flow in the conversation. It can deepen the conversation. So really here you're wanting to hear about the other person's thoughts and feelings, and this can extend the conversation. There could be more substance that comes out. With the structure here, you could say, can you tell me more about your thoughts on this? Can you tell me more about how you're feeling? You know, what are your, what areas do you want to address? It really shows that you're open to feedback. It shows that you're wanting to, you know, make the project or make some whatever topic that you're discussing, you know, have more substance and progress it in a way that maybe was limited before you inquired how to deepen the conversation. So that's strategy 6. And these are 6 strategies. I know it might be a lot to ingest, but we'll give you a scenario and then reflect on how we employed the 6 strategies, and Starfire can dive in a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much, Devin, for educating us on these strategies and how to use them effectively. You know, what the purpose is behind each one. And so we put a little scenario together where the response will really incorporate all of these, so you can see how powerful it is when it's used together. It's a great framework when you can use it together, but of course you can also mix and match pieces that you feel are right for you or for the specific situation at the time. So just keep that in mind, but I'm gonna read off the scenario so everyone's on the same page. So Starfire, me, I'm the senior vice president at a financial tech services company, and DevDog is a sales manager who reports to me, and in recent months has been given more responsibility to oversee all the operations in the Western United States. Despite being given more responsibility, DevDog has not received a raise, and he is prepared to bring this topic up with me. He decides to send me an email asking for a compensation discussion, and I agreed to have a one-on-one meeting with him after the Friday sales meeting. And so we sit down and I say, hey, I saw your recent email about compensation and the potential for raises this year. I have budget constraints and I don't know if I will be able to give you what you want. I'm getting pulled in different directions right now, and it might be tough to get you what you want at this time. And let's see what DevDog has to say using these strategies.
Great. Yeah. So just keep in mind, I might have a lot of energy spinning in my body and my head, but this is going to be my response. So Starfire, yes, it seems like it might not be the best time to have a raise discussion. I understand you have budget constraints and may need to review options before giving out raises immediately. So I was using disarming and thought empathy. What else? So yeah, that was my first response, but let's really continue here. So adding compensation to the strategic planning process must be a challenge. I wonder if you're feeling pressed by me and maybe other team members to give more than you're able to at this time. I know it's not an easy situation. Yeah, without a raise or promotion, I really would feel a bit disappointed and sad, as I've been working really hard to contribute significant value. That's where I'm at right now. I do appreciate your support over the past year with my projects, especially when you decided to have me oversee more operations for my team. It really meant a lot to me. So I'm wondering how could we go about this negotiation in a more mutually beneficial way? Maybe you have other ideas in mind, increasing bonus potential or other things. Yeah, I'm curious what thoughts you have on this.
Thank you for your response, Devin. It makes me feel really good and kind of less anxious to know how you feel about this and that you approached me in such a calm manner. You know, something I was expecting was for you to come in kind of angry and annoyed that I haven't been able to give you what you want, but honestly, my hands are tied. So for you to cooperate and be so so calm about it has, really reflects on your leadership skills, and really opens up the table for me to push harder for the budget constraints that I'm stuck with, and to get you what you need, because you're such a valuable asset to the team. So thank you for your response. Those in the audience, feel free to comment on what you thought about the response, but I'd love to also invite our other coach, Bettina, and Hal to kind of provide some feedback or additional comments on this role playing.
All right, can you go back to the feeling empathy, please?
Yeah.
Slide for this scenario. Yeah, if you're impressed by me, the team to you. Yeah, okay. So this is good. So we actually wrote the case in such a way that it's not there's actually opportunity to even improve this response to make our point. So the feeling, the I feel statements, it's not an easy situation. Without a raise or promotion, I would feel a bit disappointed and sad, as I've been working really hard. Okay, so that's a great I feel statement. Oh, I wanted to highlight the feeling empathy. I wonder if you feel impressed by me and other team members to give more than you are able to do at this time. Yes, so that's definitely one potential feeling, as the boss for the company. There might be some other feelings that perhaps might be even more acute than this one. Can people suggest some possibilities? Is this a CEO? Safa, we're the CEO, or you're one of the senior leaders?
Yeah, VP.
Yeah, VP. Anyway, one of the senior executives. What other feelings might she feel here, in addition to this?
For me, so I feel nervous because I don't want to lose this person, but I have constraints, and I'm very happy that they were so successful, but feel sad that I can't address their needs. And so I do feel like pressed by him and other team members. So that's a pretty accurate summarization of how I feel.
Is it possible that you, at least if I were in that situation, I might also feel pressure because I'm my own boss, right? God knows what my CEO is telling me. And she is probably asking me to do more with less. and here I am being sandwiched in the middle. My boss is telling me, hey, hustle. And then one of my subordinates asking more, right? So that's a lot of pressure to manage.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I have invited those in the audience to present a scenario, but take your time. As you think of some juicy stories, I will actually go through some virtual meeting tips that I think could be really helpful and for everyone, given that we're in a digital working environment. So let me just make sure I didn't skip one. Okay. Yeah. So number one, focus on your relationships. Ask people about their lives. Hey, how's it going with their family? Use people's names and try to meet in person if you can, if it's safe. That really helps build that relationship and to help you get what you need from other team members when you do need it. Always prepare an agenda so that you can be present and productive. You want to do adequate preparation so that you make the best of everyone's time. Make sure you get people's input and be clear about deliverables. Check in on people to see if they've had a chance to express themselves, and tell people what you want opinions on so that they have a chance to mention it. Lead to accomplish the agenda. So you want to use empathy and thoughtfulness to invite people to be connected online. You want to be assertive, so don't be afraid to ask for permission to stay on topic. Call on people, just give them a heads up that you'll be doing that first so that they know to not multitask. And yeah, just check in to see if people are aligned and understand what's going on. And next slide is try to discuss what's intended. We don't want to stray too far from things because that will cause people to be less engaged later on. Also, try to get opinions on your agenda beforehand. This kind of plays into preparation. If people can have an input into the agenda, we can have a more collaborative, effective meeting, and where everyone's opinions are they have a chance to kind of talk about it. We want to encourage collaborative problem solving, assign people time to talk. We don't want people to multitask. We think that we are really good at doing that and can stay focused, but usually that is not the case. And make sure you check in, like I said, and then it's always great to keep your camera on so we can connect with everyone visually and kind of just be able to monitor what people are feeling. So that is it. Actually, there's one more thing we would love to promote, and I'm going to leave this to Hal.
Yeah, so this is another opportunity for you to put these things in practice. Now, why is practice important? A lot of these things probably sound reasonable to you. The hardest thing is actually not about learning these skills, is to be emotionally aware such that you can actually use these skills when you don't feel like it. You know, when you feel like venting, when you feel like just shooting back at whatever the other person has said to you that really sounded nasty. And unfortunately, most of us have real life to practice, which is not great because the consequences of us messing up in our practices are real. So what we wanted to provide is a safe space for you to sandbox some of the skills on your own, in a sense that, you know, you're going to practice these skills. And one way is to do one-on-one coaching with either DevDog or Bettina here, but another way is in groups, because oftentimes we find ourselves in social settings, and particularly nowadays we find ourselves in Zoom meetings with other people. So how do you communicate in that setting? We're giving you that a safe space to communicate, and we couple that with some leadership insights that I've learned from Harvard Kennedy School, which is a school that has educated a lot of leaders around the world who are making war and peace decisions right now. So instead of having you apply to Harvard and go through the school there, we're bringing that to you in a very, very convenient way. So that's what Leadership Lab is. It's a practice, experiential based learning with other people.